Guys, I've never done like such a content for YouTube video. I feel it's gonna be so cringe. It can't be worse than your LOR clip. I'm not gonna lie. It took me Porter. It took me half a day to record it. What clip? Awesome. All right, give me a link. We can watch it, guys. Oh, f off. I'm so bad at you making this kind of. This was the best result. I've sent them 4 different clips. They chose the best one. So, I mean, what's the point of saying at the intro your own nick? People literally know, like, who they are watching, no? Oh, I guess it's for newcomers, right? So you introduce yourself? That's so cringe. Oh, thank God, phone. It saved me. Phone saved me. Thank you. Hello. But intros. This is gonna be no intro, guys. Just use the Vietnam clip intro. Oh God. Hello. Great to see you again. No. Alright, guys. This is my first YouTube video. I'm gonna try not to make it too cringe. And yeah, this will be a mulligan guide. This will be not a specific deck mulligan guide, just a general one. I'm gonna use the exemplary 3 decks to show you off what you should be looking for the proactive decks and reactive decks. Yeah. So let's say we have a deck like Ezreal Draven. It's generally a tempo deck, a typical mid-range deck. So in the certain matchups, like where you go into other mid-range matchups, let's say if you are going into more aggressive matchups, like let's say Baron aggro, Spider aggro, etc., you're looking for cards that can remove their 1 HP units. So you are looking mainly for cheap removal, like Static Shock, Beam, which deals with their main threats like Elise. Yeah. Also, you are looking for like units that can trade efficiently with their units. So, let's say if you are going into aggro, you are not gonna be keeping Ramash. Cooling Strike would be a good keep. You never keep Scorched Earth and you don't keep Dredger without having already a good curve into it. Yeah. So in this case, you are just keeping Cooling Strike to have a removal for their early threat, which is Elise. Therefore, you don't need to go for the beam. You can go for more proactive stuff when you have already one reactive card that can deal with their threat. So, assuming this is what you see at your starting hand, now Mystic Shot is an interesting card because sometimes in specific matchups it's gonna be super clutch to keep it. Oh, I'm making it Draven fucking guide. I shouldn't be making this Draven guide. Ruined? No, we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it. It's fine. Yeah, I think we should. Mulligan guide should be just stick to the deck guides. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Okay. Take 2, Victor. You go from here, yeah? So overall, when you are mulliganing with the mid-range deck or like as a deck that can go either proactive or reactive, you have to make a decision when you are going into the matchup if you want to play reactive or proactive. Reactive means you want to wait and let your opponent play into you, and basically you mulligan for removal, and you act to what your opponent does. And proactive means that you're gonna be developing your own threats and force your opponent to have answer to your board. So certain decks can play both ways, like Draven S. There are decks that plays only proactive, and there are decks that plays only reactive. Only reactive decks are usually the control decks or combo decks that they play only reactive until they find their win con or draw their win con, or they can reach their win con, like let's say Trundle Lysandra control, they reach their 0 mana watcher, or proactive decks like scouts or aggro decks, which always wants to develop and always force you to have an answer. So against, let's say, against aggressive decks, you want to play more reactive. Against control decks, combo decks, you want to play more reactive. Force them to have specific answer for your threat. Because, like, let's say if you are playing into the control decks, like Lysandra Trundle, you know that they have usually 1 mana, not 1 mana, 1 damage and 2 damage pings. So let's say Turn of the Rose is not gonna be great keep because they have multiple ways of dealing with that. But Draven, on the other hand, they have to throw 2 cards to kill him unless they are running Grasp. And if they are grasping your Draven, that's a 5 mana commitment to your 3 mana threat, so you are getting a tempo advantage, yes? So in like, let's say if you are playing into the control matchup, you're gonna be looking for proactive play that doesn't die easily to their removal. So you're looking basically for proactive and your win con. Win con would be a big Tribeam in this matchup and buffing up with free drop. So you would be keeping Draven in that specific scenario. Was it better, chat? Alright, Victor, this is take 3. So, this is a general mulligan guide. There will be specific for each deck that I'll be doing the deck guides for in the future. So, those are just general tips, guys. Basically, making you realize that when you are heading into each matchup, you should be developing a game plan. And based on this game plan, you should mulligan aggressively to increase your odds of winning. You shouldn't be scared of mulliganing decent cards. You should be mulliganing sometimes for the best cards. So let's say if you are playing into, let's say, Ashley Blanc as Draven, like, this is looking decent. Like, you are looking, okay, I have Draven, I have Thorns, I can Dredger after the playing Draven. But the problem is, in this matchup, your units don't combat well with opponent units because he is just freezing yours. So even if you have good units, they're gonna be trading very poorly and you're gonna be losing tempo. And the matchup is based basically about you just playing removal on their units. So you don't go into combat. You force your opponent to play more units. And you know that their deck is very low on the units and lots of combat tricks freezes. So they, like, outside of like 3 combat tricks, they can't keep their units alive. So actually the correct play would be mulliganing entire hand, looking for just spells that can remove opponent units. The premium card in this matchup would be Tribeam, for example. Yeah. And that's an okay hand, because you are getting Draven, get excited for... It's way better than the previous one. You have Sentry for things like challengers, you have get excited to discard the axe and remove one of their threats. After, like, when, let's say, you are attacking on turn 3 with Draven, they block with the unit, they freeze Draven, and then you get excited their unit. You traded 1 for 2 because their freeze was not effective in the combat. So that would be, those combination of 2 cards is actually premium in this matchup. And like every matchup has those little nuances you should be thinking about when you are heading into it. So the important part, develop game plan and then mulligan according to it. Yeah?